First of all, when the court orders the demolition of a project, how are the contractors selected? You have already been with the Maradu flats demolition.
Correct.
Help us understand how this process works.
Now, in Maradu, if you ask me, it was a state government job. So they had to come up with tenders. Then they came up with some 6 vendors,
Yeah.
participated for that tender, the technical ones, out of which they shortlisted 3 of them technically. They had formed a committee, technical committee, where IITians and local corporation, uh, implosion experts, they all were involved, structural consultant. From that technical committee, they sorted out with 3 people, and then there was commercial between 3 of us, and we were the best of the lot from the 3. But however, as it's a government body, so they cannot offer complete job to one single party. So they gave us 3 big ones, and 2 small ones were given to one other vendor.
The South African company, right?
South African company was my JV.
Okay.
There was another company by name of Vijay Steels, if I'm not wrong. That was a part of, they did 2 buildings and we did 3 buildings. So that was a process there. Now here this is a private firm. So it all depends on, they might ask for quotations directly.
No, the Central Building Research Institute has been given the Supreme Court order says CBRI has to be involved.
They have to give a, yeah, I know Mr. Gopal, I think Mr. Gopal Krishnan or the director there. He has to play a role in deciding things. I don't know commercially he can play a role. Maybe technically yes, authority of Noida authority along with CBRI, they might come down with a method statement, the correct to do the job. Finally, the onus is on the builder to select the vendor. Commercially also you'll have to look into. It cannot happen that whatever technically this people clears, he has to agree to it.
Right. Help me understand the commercials of it. Let's take the Maradu. They were 17 to 19 stories, right? Here we're talking about 40 stories. In terms of the expertise as well as the cost, is there a significant difference?
Yes, there would be. First of all, there are 40 stories. What I understand is 32 stories have been constructed. They were planned for 40 stories, but currently there are 32 slabs which have been constructed. I have not seen the site, but what photographs we see from newspapers and all is what I understand. And so we've already done 18 stories, another 14 stories. Commercially, yes, there would be a gap because more of explosives will be used, more preparation work still have to be done. However, parallelly, we really don't know the steel reinforcement will be property of whose, whether the client would like to retain it, Supertech. In case of Maradu, we were given the steel. So we had to quote minusing the steel component in each buildings. So the figures there for services were less because we got that scrap as well. Here, it depends on the builder whether he's ready to merge with the steel to us or he wants to sell it with his own scrap vendors or how it would be. But in terms of services, yes, it would be more than Maradu. 40 stories, no joke, or 32 stories, no joke. Never ever a building has been done. Maradu was the first case where this 18 stories were got down. Now, that's the only reason because when we met the state government, the chief secretary, the collector there, so they were of the opinion that they want the safest way. They wanted to, because they were at 15 feet, there was a water body. At say 20 feet, there was a resort. There was another garage at the other side. So there was a school in one of the properties. There was a school, Anganwadi school, just next door. I mean, hardly 10 feet away. Then there was some 25 feet away. There was one more tall structure, almost 30 story. So all these were there. So they were very clear that we wanted to be precisely done. Cost was never their concern. Uh, so that's the only reason we hired this South African. We already have a JV with him. We've done one project with them in South Africa. They have done this project with us in India. So we took their technical expertise, planning, preparing the building. The complete labor team of almost 200 people were deployed by us. Basic planning was given by him. how to do it, where these detonators have to be deployed, which columns, which beams, uh, quantity of detonators, which detonators, all those things were done by him. The sequencing, the delayed timings of these detonators, because it's in our control how we want a building to fall. I will share the video once we are done with this. All three buildings were done with a different concept, because one place we were facing Anganwadi, so we cannot get the whole building down also because it was so close. By the air pressure also, that school would have blown off.
Mhm.
So we had covered it. However, we took only half building that side, the other half we took it behind. So we divided the building into two parts initially, and then we blasted in such a way that the first half comes near to the school, so the damage is less to the school, and the second part, which is the bigger part, goes behind. So you can see that closeness in the video itself. It is very clear videos. It's all technical expertise we took from them, and the whole job was executed by us. And in fact, the whole team back in Maradu, the collector, the police commissioner, the chief secretary, everyone was precisely happy because not even a single piece of debris went into the water body. After the blast, once we went to the site, it was way within the boundary walls also. Forget the water body. It was inside the boundary walls. There was a gap where we can walk around the structure. So exactly fell where we wanted it to be. So that was
Explain this process of implosion. How do you, considering these tall structures, what are the steps towards implosion?
yeah, as I told you, we need to decide when we see the site, which is the closest structure, what we need to save, how we can take a fall, whether it has to be tilted a little towards one of the sides, or whether it has to come right down as a play of cards. So once we see the site, it will be decided in this scenario. But then generally, thumb rule says that every sixth floor or fifth floor should to be blasted. Like going from top, if it is 32, then the first blast will be at 27 approx 26 27, then around 20 21, 14 15, 5 6, and then the basement. The reason behind it, the first blast will take place at the top level. So once that take place, the that complete floor, there are no columns. Let's assume that way. It has blasted. So the self weight of the top 5 floors will allow the building to come down. Will also support the gravity of the structure. Will itself support the building to come down, because the whole weight of 5 floors is on the seventh floor from the top. You remove the sixth floor, for example, by blasting. So these detonators are placed in such a way and they are sequenced in such a way that maybe physically or by eyes will not be able to see those delays, because they are in microsecond, milliseconds. Because the whole blast would take 7 minutes to get it down. So within seconds, we'll see those blasts happening. So it starts crumbling. The top 5 floors will crumble first, sit on the seventh floor. Then I blast the bottom 20th floor. So then with the weight of all those 10 floors, will sit on that 20th floor. So that way, it will allow the building to come right on one top of the other. The sequencing is very important. Which columns to blast first, where we want the direction to come, whether if there's something at the back, so we want a little tilt in the front. So we blast the front columns more. The back columns are kept maybe a little bit as it is, or we blast only few of them. So that planning has to be done depending upon the what the client requires, where the structure should go. So that we plan and then we prepare the whole building uh, by drilling and whatever might come in way of the fall. Like for example, a lift wall. The lift wall runs from ground floor to the top floor. Now that's a pure concrete wall. So a concrete wall will never crumple.
Yeah.
If it is bricks, it will crumple by its weight. Columns will blast. For those shear walls, or we call it as shear walls, or say for example, or lift walls. So there also we create spaces at various places, and not only on those 5 floors but middle floors also, because then that 5 floor of lift shaft will come all together. So it can go anywhere. So we might do it at more floors. We cut it across so that we create a gap between the walls, say a meter gap. So when it crumples, it also sits, and the whole piece of 5 floors don't go anywhere. So these are various means. Then while blasting, we make sure that we cover the columns with first with wire mesh, then we cover it with geotextile cloths so that those when it blasts, the chemical blast, the debris don't fly away. It is retained within that structure. Every floor, wherever we are blasting, we cover it up with these geotextile cloths. So again, even if it crosses that layer of covering of column, the next layer is the like the we'll remove the walls because it will not allow it to crumple then, but we'll cover it with geotextile cloth. So it will again take away that debris. Along with the debris, it also takes away the pressure because when it comes down, the building comes down, there's a lot of pressure and air which goes out the building. So that also creates things to fly away. So even that has to be curtailed. Curtailed. So there also we keep cloths surrounding the property at all 5 levels or 6 levels wherever we are taking a blast. So that air pressure is also covered. It stays within the property. Uh, that's how it is maintained.
How long does this whole process of planning take?
Planning now in this structure, I feel planning plus execution would be say 2 months job. And then uh, uh, we take a blast, which is a day's time, and then clearing of site would take another 1.5 month. So all put together, three and a half months should be enough.
And how much of the material can be recovered as scrap and so on?
Complete. I'm sorry. Completely.
Okay.
Because I mean, it will be steel reinforcement. It is still being constructed. So basically, it will be steel reinforcements. So once it is crumpled down, then we send our equipment and extract the steel out of debris. The debris are disposed to the local municipal places. And steel is a salvageable material. So whether they want to buy it or keep it with them or they want us to sell it, we can give credits to them.
Okay. Um, Actually, when there are many residential, it's a densely populated residential area. There are residential properties very close to it. Even in Maradu, we saw that some of the during your pre-demolition phases, some buildings develop cracks and so on. Is that a danger?
No, no, no. I would correct you here. It was not the buildings, but the boundary walls. Yes, not to the because there were common boundary walls between two structures. So those went for tosses, not because we had kept vibration meters there. And even to curtail these vibrations, what we try to do is we dig out trenches between two structures. So those vibrations which comes out from this demolished buildings, they don't travel to the other building. So almost as deep as 1 meter, 1.5 meter, 2 meters, we dig out trenches surrounding those areas where there are building adjoining to the next structure. So the vibrations don't transfer. So we sure that because we've done it practically, we've seen it. The vibrations were measured by IIT Chennai when we practically did the blast. So all the reports were all positive that not even a single piece, nowhere it has gone for a toss.
Okay. So even if there are multi-story apartments in close proximity, there's no danger to those.
No, we are very confident that it should not impact anything. Absolutely not. I'm telling you, 15 feet away there was a water body and not even a single stone went there. So even if I get 15 feet, I'm okay.
Okay.
It's only the heap would be more because it's a 32 story and here it was 18 story. The heap of debris would be almost 5 floors.
Yeah.
It comes down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. And any other dangers to this kind of implosions?
I would say it's only not danger, but it is more with dust. It's more with dust. There will be a lot of dust which is generated. Whatever I do, I cannot control that dust. We have water sprinklers, We'll have all those system in place, but however, the amount of dust which is generated, you cannot control it. It has to flow. Uh, you don't know where it will flow because the wind direction can be anywhere. So you don't know where it will flow. The only thing we can request the local corporations to keep their team ready. So whatever properties are surrounding or roads or bridges, so those can be cleaned because there will be layers. I mean, I would literally a layer of half a centimeter or a centimeter on the roads, nearby roads,
Yeah.
because the dust has to settle somewhere.
How far does it move?
The dust, again, I told you, it depends on the wind speed, which direction the wind is. So, if the wind speed is good enough, then it will take far off. It will spread more. If it is not too much of wind, then it will be close by. But like we create zones when we plan it out. We create a zone surrounding we survey the whole area. Then we create zones that which buildings like we want it to be completely evacuated. Uh, we keep three zones. Like in zone A, which is a close proximity to the building, there have to be no human in those zone. So whatever it's coming, whether it's a shop or a residence or whatever it comes, we need to evacuate them at that in that zone. In the second zone, maybe partially required shops and things can be kept open. And the last zone, people can stand. Uh, so it's almost 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. It's generally in that territory.
Okay. Let me go back to this technology. How many of our engineers are actually trained in demolition technology? Do we have enough trained engineers?
I would not say no. We
Uh,
have people in India, but as I told you, this would be the first time it would happen. A building of this height would get collapsed. Before this, the first time was Maradu. Uh, Before that, chimneys have been done, but then in those cases they were directed towards one side. It was never crumpled like a play of cards. It can be directed. That is more simpler. That you blast half of it, so it creates a vacuum there at the bottom. So it has to go the other way. I mean, it will not go backside. It will come in the place where I have removed a piece of concrete. So these things have been done before by various people. There are people there's a person in Indore. He's also a part of Limca's Book of Records. Sarat Sharvate is his name. He's been instrumental in doing implosions for last 20 years in India. But then he's either done a two-story, three stories, or a chimney or a silo, these kinds of structures. A building never ever has been done by anyone apart from the ones which were done in Barado. So this is another challenge. And to be very precise, there is no system today in India to demolish this height of a building with any other method. Because if you ask me, I have the tallest machine. If I have to do it with machine, I have the tallest machine available in India, which can demolish, say 13-story building uh, without blasting. If I think I don't want to blast, then there is a machine available in India which can do up to 13 stories. Anything beyond that, either I do it manually, anything above, if it is 18 stories, so 5 stories I'll do manually, which is again a time consuming activity. Cost is involved is more. So this is the most preferable method today. If anything beyond, say, 12 floors, 14 floors, 13 floors, is anything beyond that, the fastest, the cheapest, the most economical way of doing it.
And who are your competitors in the market? How many competitors would you have?
Competitors, I would say no, because the way we've done the job in Maradu, because there were two people, two parties, I told you. The state government clearly told us that we, as a government body, we cannot give you a complete order. So we distributed. So they were given, because they were very confident with us technically. Anyways, we had those South African expert because he himself is a mining guy and he's been doing this implosions for again last 40 years, pan worldwide. So since he's partner to us, so technically, I'm sure no one can be in any contention of competition. However, the other person who took the job was a steel scrap guy. He got it done through another person who's a mining engineer. So we helped him also to get, because we were close by building, so and we are friends as well. So we used to always tell him that this is how we are doing it. Do it this way, do it that way. So competition, I will not say I am really worried about any competition. If it is implosion or any demolition in India today, we've done cricket stadiums no one has done. We've done a 6 kilometer bridge over water, Mahatma Gandhi Setu in Bihar, Patna. No one has done this long. We have been awarded as for in World Demolition Awards. We've been selected. Our projects have been selected. Like I'm going to Russia tomorrow as a guest speaker in their demolition forum. So we are confident. I mean, if we are given, if we are interested in the job, uh, we don't see any competition. Commercially, also we are always in a good
How
place.
important is it to bring this into education? Engineering education is something that, upgrading of engineering education is something that is being talked about. How important is it
It
to?
is in India. It is not there. If you go globally, we have various courses on this. In fact, after Maradu, people have come to know, and after Maradu, we got many calls by students that they are doing a project on demolition by implosions. So they wanted to understand the materials used, what all those things. So it's now being known to people. At least higher studies, people are opting as projects to this as a subject of this. But yes, this cannot be a regular affair. I cannot say that this can come every month. So rather than putting into education system, it's better if people do it as a project, or it's an option for people who have real interest in doing this, because you have to have core knowledge of mining, explosives. Then only you can be good at planning. You should be good at drawing, because you have to make a lot of drawings in this. Uh, so I would not say education system in pre-primary schools or schools, college is not required, but in higher educations can be opted as a side subject where people can specialize and get something out of it.
Already you're seeing over 100 CES buildings in Mumbai which have not been demolished, and in many cases it's because we have a lack of expertise, right?
Yeah,
Across.
correct. Yeah. Yes, we have lack of, there is there, but things are improving. Like how I got a foreign expert here in India. He was a very thorough gentleman. I mean, so we've learned out of Maradu. Even if you ask me today, I cannot sit and plan each columns. I have to have some expert to give me that understanding. But with Maradu, even we learned. Me and my partner, we are two partners, so we learned out of it because we were there for almost 2 months. One of us made sure that we are there, so we learn out of it, and we are taking it forward. If we get something in this, if there is this demolition happens, then and if we are a part of it, yes, we will. We plan to do it with some other. We already started thinking how we'll do it. We intend to do it in a better way. So whatever small errors we've kept in Maradu, you would clarify it and do it better here in Delhi, Noida.
Thank you so much. Can you also give me the name of the other expert, the one who did the other two buildings, if you could share it with me?
Yeah, that was the company's name was Vijay Steels.
Uh,
Or other, I would prefer. I don't know if you want. I don't know the name of the gentleman.
uh,
The company's name is Vijay Steel.
uh,
But then I told you there's one more expert who's already in Guinness Book of World Record.
in
He's holding
Indore.
he's holding a record of number of implosions done by a single person.
Okay.
So he's Mr. Sharad Sarvate, based out of Indore. I
Uh,
can share his number.
oh, please, if you would.
I have his number.
Very interesting, Utkarsh, a new field. And as I see it, till for the last 25 years, we've been building, but we haven't been clearing enough. And,
Correct. But then tall structures have now started. See, you last 10 years, the tall structures have started building up. Before that, there were no tall structures. This is all development in last 10 years. So now we should, as a government, I would suggest as a demolition contractor, that now there should be norms, like we have fire safety norms. There should be norms right at the beginning when you're constructing anything beyond 25 stories or 20 or 30 stories, how that has to be demolished. That plan also should be a part of the construction plan.
Okay. And it has to be cleared at the time of construction, at the time of
Easy enough, yeah. I mean, you get fire NOCs, right? A fire officer, the chief engineer of fire brigade, has to give an NOC that it is clear. But now tomorrow, when after 30 years, when these buildings come for demolition, if you ask me, there is no plan as such for the government that how it, and now everyone is looking. Now this building has come 32 stories. Everyone is looking how it can be demolished. That's a first question everyone is trying to find out how it can be demolished. Though I am a contractor, I do it every day, so it's a very normal business for me. I know how am I going to do the job sitting here in office. So I'm confident of doing it. But you or anyone else as a layman are all in the. I mean, I've been getting calls, n number of calls now. So they all are skeptical. Whether it can be, is it possible? Can we demolish it? Is 3 months enough? All those questions are there in people's mind. So if government starts doing it at local municipal corporation levels itself while clearing their building plans, then how to demolish it? It should also be a plan archived in the whole file. That if you're creating a 75-story plan building, after 30 years, if it has to be demolished, how it will be demolished. So if that plan is also put now, that would help.
Do we have enough equipment?
Yeah. In India, yes. That's sort of. There are various methods to do it. So, like this project specifically, it is a blasting project. 3 months is a very short period for any other method because other method is manual means. So that's always going to be time consuming and it costs also. So it's better we do it with blasting. And since it is the court is involved, so getting of explosives will also not be that big a challenge.
Right.
Yeah, the number you can write down.
Yeah.
98260.
Yeah.
48277.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You want to share this in construction, right? Construction magazine.
Yeah, Construction World. I will also be writing in my blog in the Times of India. It's called Brick on the Wall. And I will also be writing the legal part of it in the leaflet. That is a legal.
My request, if you can share those links, I would be thankful.
I will do that.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.